It's movie time, and we're back again with Movie Time. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday, Movie Time. It's like we are the only show on indie radio tonight, and but good thing they were on 14 other podcasting stations. How are y'all doing? Hopefully, okay. And we are in for a fantastic show tonight. And tonight, we also have my two co-hosts with me, Arpo. Hey, Arpo, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing just swell. Super duper dee.
And, of course, my fantastic host, Olaf. Hey, Olaf, how you doing?
I am doing just fantastic. It's been such a lovely Friday here in the great state of Indiana. It just doesn't get any better than this.
Lucky you. It was raining as all hell here.
Oh, you actually believe that? Awesome. All right.
Yeah. That sounded really convincing.
And they said I couldn't act.
Yeah, it was raining here buckets.
Yeah, today was just your typical day in Florida. Sunny weather, 80 degrees.
Oh, that
few
jazz.
Scattered clouds.
Oh, I think you got up around 90 or something here. It was all 90 and humid.
So you were baking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you make cookies?
See, I was smart. I was smart. I stayed inside.
Ooh.
Only went out when I had to.
Ah. So you do not enjoy the baking?
No.
Interesting. I also have heard back from some great people from back home in Toronto, and they were doing well. So they said hi to everybody out there as well. And
hi.
Yeah, it's
hi.
Like, hey, Debbie and Kathleen, hope that you're all doing well. And so tonight we have a very fascinating topic. One that we've been talking about, bantering a little bit back and forth for a while, and figured we'd bring it forth to you and you, our audience. It's talking about distribution timing of release for films. When it's right, and when it's wrong, it's definitely wrong. And a lot of people, when they're looking at box office figures, the first thing that they're thinking of is, damn, this movie really skyrocketed, or, oh my God, what the hell happened to this movie? It seemed like such a great film. Why didn't it get the accolades it was supposed to? What do we think that some of the reasons for that may be? What the perfect reason for this could possibly be?
Timing.
Yep.
Timing?
Timing.
Yes.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, there are certain times. Go on.
I was gonna say, if you rush the film too much to try to get it to the theaters and get it into the theaters too soon or too late, timing is everything.
Yep. Now, there are two theories to that as well, because sometimes what you want to do is, when you have a series of certain kind of movies, you might want to put on an opposing movie so you give an alternative. However, that being said, timing being everything, there are certain times a year that certain films just generally, they pop and they soar. Let's face it, the summertime is blockbuster season. Let's start with summer, since we're already into summer. What kind of movies do you think play off in the summer really, really well?
Well, there was
winter
movie on
movies.
Amazon
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't think was going to catch on to people. I mean, people, who really cares about Amazon? And yet it's been topping the charts week after week after week, and truly entertaining movies like Rough Night are sinking like stones.
Yeah, and again, it's all about the T word, timing. In the summer, a lot of movies being blockbusters are things like action hero movies, big budget, Hollywood type movies. They play the best in the summer because that's the season for when families come on vacation, that the kids are off. It's like you've got your highest family demographic. So it's very family oriented, a lot of the movies that come out.
Yes, this is when you get all your big animated blockbusters. We got
Yes.
Yeah.
right now we've got Captain Underpants, Cars 3, and now just this weekend, Despicable Me 3,
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Can't
all
wait to see that one.
playing at the theater.
Yeah. Cars 3. Cars 3 was awesome.
It was?
Yes, I loved it.
Cool.
Of course, I I like the animated films.
Yes.
In other words, they are done. They're done so well and everything. So I'm a fan of the animated films.
Yes, and they do extremely well over the summer. They are. That's actually when their peak it happens. Their peak times for that, because again, it's like this is the time of year that families are all together. They want to see something, nothing heavy, nothing that is a thinking movie, nothing with deep subjects in it,
Yeah,
nothing that is too offensive. Anything that is comedic or romantic necessarily. It's like unless it's something absolutely amazing that's family oriented as well as romantic.
yeah. And my boss said I could have the day off on Friday or on Monday, so I'm gonna go see Despicable Me
There you go.
3.
It's like
Yep.
I'll wait until Sunday night and go see it.
Yep.
Well, then you'll see it before me, but I'll see it in 3D.
Yeah.
I'll see it at the. So,
Yep.
I know you'll get to see it with another movie.
uh-huh.
Yep.
Maybe it'll be there with Captain Underpants, and you can just veg out to animation.
Yes, there you go.
Yep. So that's also another reason why movies are very popular in the summer of that nature is because also the drive-ins, the warmer weather, the later nights. That's also another reason why blockbusters are very super popular. It's also why a lot of action comic book movies come out during this time of year, like Wonder Woman that we had talked about throughout our week in regards to that. So now, what do you think is really super popular in the fall? In the fall season, just as the kids are going back to school.
The that's when people start looking for the Oscar contenders. That's where they start looking for the movies, a little more mature movies with good acting and good writing and good directing.
Yep.
That's where you get your movies like Moonlight, La La Land, uh,
Your rom coms.
oh yeah, your rom coms. I was trying to think of specific titles, and I went blank.
That's when you get things, for example, like a good one that was Manchester by the Sea.
Yes,
No, yeah, yeah. I haven't seen
Yeah.
it yet.
Yes.
only
So
cheating yourself. So
I have yet to see it myself as well. It's like I have been curious though, and
am
it's going
I
to be
the
coming.
only person on this show who has taste?
Hey, it's called. I don't have time to see most of the times food at the end of the day. I have to
Oh,
keep going to
I
myself.
get the feeling this year I'm not going to have nearly the kind of fun I usually have just before the Oscars when I have
Nope.
1 month to watch like 50 movies, and I'm not going to have time to do that this year.
No, sadly no. It's like so basically it's like what we're talking about is that in the fall usually are those and then there's also another thing that comes out during that time. And a lot of people don't understand it comes around just before the holiday movies, which is called the troubled productions. The ones that they had to release because they were sitting on the shelf and they have no other place to put them. And let's hope they find an audience.
Or sometimes they've been sitting on the shelf, and one of the relatively unknown actors in it had a big breakout movie,
Yes,
in the summer, and they say, "Hey, now we can release it and say it's starring him."
that's right. So really, it's like you get a combination in the fall season. Now, what do you think happens then? Come around October, November, we start getting the holiday movies, and
Yes.
this is when you start getting everything to do with Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah. You name the holiday, it probably has been done on film.
Yeah. And it's
In what
also,
for?
once again, when you start getting another big rash of children's and superhero movies.
Right.
Yes, and then comes late fall into winter. Late fall into winter is also another very interesting period of time. That is the time of season when you are looking at movies that are more serious subjects, winter, spring driven, spring break kind of movies. And this is also the time that you want your romantic comedies to come out because during this time is also the time that you have the warm, squishy things like Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Although what's interesting, what I've noted in the past few years, is that January seems to be the second Halloween when it comes to horror movies.
Yes, that is
I
also
think a
another
lot
reason.
of the horror movies get displaced near the end of October because they're pushing up the holiday films earlier and earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and then they've got these horror movies that they were going to release in October that now they're releasing in January because they couldn't compete with the holiday films.
Exactly. Now, they also pose a very different ideal for people as well. The holiday movies because they also have a different thing come winter as well. They also have spring break kind of movies towards midwinter.
Yes, we all want to be reminded that the snow will go away eventually.
Yes, so they don't really highlight that quite so much. In the wintertime, it's more springish kind of movies. As I said, things like the horror movies, they do really well actually as well in March during
Mm.
that whole March Madness and March breaks. It's like they do really well during that. Then comes the season of spring movies, and that's when you're starting to get the ones that are the school movies, like the summer, the back to schools, the school is ending, the teen coms, the movies that are again more family-ish oriented. You also are getting during that time your super super serious movies. That's the ones that it's like your action movies come out in April and May because they're the ones with the high action impact. So if you want movies that are really action packed, your April May crowd, your spring crowd will absolutely devour your action films.
Right. Because
Because
again, try to get you charged up for summer and get motivated to get out and do stuff.
and what happens in spring? Spring training, baseball, basketball, all of those things. It's like come February, March, you're getting into the sports season, which sports movies become very, very super popular. Also during that time, because as soon as the whatever football team or things like that, it's like you get those things. In winter, you sometimes will get things like Olympic type movies to also remind you of the Olympic years. But those are also successful. Now, timing in terms of movies is critical because what happens then following the second school? I decide, what, even though it's this time of the year for, children's movies, family movies, and all of that, I'm going to release my big, huge comedy. What do you think happens to that big, huge comedy then? Because we all think it's some people think it's star driven. It's not.
No.
So
Case in point, Snatched.
yes,
Goldie Hawn. You don't get much more star driven than that.
that's right.
They shot themselves in the foot, releasing it at the same time as Kong,
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, The Mummy. Well, there was another movie I went to see instead of that one.
Logan.
Logan.
Logan,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There was. And it wasn't
Guardians
that
of the Galaxy.
yeah, and it wasn't
Yeah.
that I didn't want to see Snatched. It's just that there were other bigger movies that were competing for my attention at that time that I was more willing to spend my box office dollar on and say, I'll wait for Snatch to come out on streaming video.
Yeah, or DVD.
Yeah. Now, if Snatched came out in September, I probably would go to see it because there's really not that much that comes out in September.
And you know what? More than likely, it would have probably been a huge hit at that point in time.
Because it's a very funny premise. You've got two very funny actresses in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what Amy Schumer did. She's still funny.
Well, let's say, for example, you know what? I don't want to have a blockbuster movie type thing. I don't want an action comic. I want a horror movie to come out in the summertime. I'm going to juxtapose it with a horror movie. How do you think that that's going to fare against the superhero movies?
If you don't have Tom Cruise in the lead role, not well.
Yeah, no, you're not going to compete with the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the only reason The Mummy is competing is because of Tom Cruise. And quite frankly, most of that money is being made in the international market, not the domestic market.
Mm-hmm. That, which is an interesting thing because timing in the international market is also quite different. They crave different things at different times as well.
Yeah.
So just because it plays that way domestically doesn't mean that internationally it's not going to make the money back. But let's just say, for example, that, you know, a movie like Rough Night. It came out now during the summer at the time that this is the height of all blockbusters.
Yeah.
It's almost like what happens with it is it was doomed from the start to towards box office dollars because it comes out at a time that, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Wonder Woman is on its game. You're just about ready to have Despicable Me 3 released. What else was coming out during that time?
We did what? The Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers.
Yes. Transformers 5. Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. Was it?
And now here's something interesting, real quick here.
47 meters
what
down.
What do you think was the number one grossing movie yesterday?
I don't know.
Baby Driver.
Interesting. So there you go. It's like 47 meters down, Baby Driver, things like that. It's like, and how is Rough Night supposed to compete?
It would be a rough night for a rough night at the movies.
Yes. Which is, once again, it's like, you know what? It's like understanding the system. Sometimes they do need to release the movie because there has to be, there are only so many times and so many slots that a movie can be involved in. But one of the things as a filmmaker that is interesting to look at is look at your contracts of when the timing is that your film will be being released. If you understand the way that the system works, you'll understand if whether your movie is part of those ones that they're going, okay, well, we release them, or okay, we're going to release this with the hopes that you're going to have a huge amount of box office return.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're going to really pay attention to your movie and give it the campaign it deserves.
Exactly.
So let's talk about that a little bit in further detail of talking about in terms of what do we think that would be a juxtaposing movie that would actually be successful? Because there has been movies that have gone up against other movies successfully.
Of the ones that have come out now.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
no, in terms of genre, what genre would you say you could put up against a blockbuster movie
Hmm.
that may catch the eye of the audience now in the summer?
I'd
I would.
say the animated movies would. I would
Mm-hmm.
think. I think that would be they. I mean, there's like I said, you get the blockbuster and you get the animated. I think the animated could go almost toe to toe with the blockbuster.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because parents are always looking for something that is young child
Right.
uh,
Mm-hmm. Oriented.
oriented. Yes, thank you. I'm sitting here going, I know there's a word.
Yeah. And honestly, there is. It's like yeah, it's young child oriented in terms of that. Something they can bring their 3, 4 year old that they don't have to explain every single thing
Right.
Yeah.
to them.
Um,
And
it doesn't have to be a blockbuster if it's based on like a really popular book
yes.
that's made into a movie. People will go to see that because they've read the book and they want to
Mm-hmm.
see how it was made into a movie. So that can compete with a blockbuster.
Right.
Yes. Book adaptation movies also do really, really super well if they are an action book. When Grisham's movies, when they used to do a lot of Grisham movies, they used
Yeah.
to do very well during the summertime.
Yes. Because everybody knew Grisham and everybody knew that there was going to be a suspense factor to it. And let's face it, Grisham made being a lawyer interesting.
Mm-hmm. So there is a classic juxtaposition to your typical movie that makes it very well in the summer. What do you think that would be the opposite for a fall movie? And given a good example of a movie in wintertime that did really well, I believe The Hangover was brought out in winter.
Mm,
I can't remember when it's
yeah.
released.
I think it was. So, one that would go against the Hangover. Maybe something like I'm drawing a blank here. The Transformers might do well against it. I don't know.
Uh, hate to correct you here, but the original, if you're talking about the original Hangover, that came out on June 5th.
So
But once
it was
again,
a yes.
it was during blockbuster movie time, and it did extremely well.
Yes.
But it
But
had
it
a
yes.
big cast. It had a lot of social media
Mm-hmm.
background happening. So it could that's another example of a movie that could compete with the blockbusters.
Another reason why is because in June it's just before the major blockbusters started happening too, and it's again one of those crave sections of people craving for entertainment that falls within that category. You've just gotten in June a lot of kids who get out of school and parents that are still working, and you get a lot of high schoolers that are graduating during that time, and a lot of kids that are starting to look at that college trip.
And a lot
So,
of college students that are having hangovers. So
exactly. So yes, it was in good timing, and absolutely the cast helped it, as well as also the campaign helped it. And we've talked about this before as well, as the marketing campaign is a huge crucial part how you market the film is going to be very close to its success. It's like if poor marketing will equal a less successful film, in as opposed to a movie that has put in its time of marketing for its target audience. Films that know its target audience. So, going back to winter movie, those fall movies, what do you think goes up against a Academy Award winning movie?
Your small personal stories can go up against it, because after all the hustle and bustle, after all the flashy special effects and everything, people are ready to settle down and just watch a nice, interesting, small human interest story. Uh, the Shack. Uh, Trying to think of another one. Well, the Shack is a good example because you know it did fairly well.
Yeah. Also, sad stories work as well in the fall season. Ironically enough, the ones that are the weepy movies.
Yes, let's get depressed right before Christmas.
Well, it's like yeah. It's like they bring out the tissues and hankies.
Yeah.
And also, it's like I'll tell you one thing, that another thing that really plays well also over the springtime is historical films.
Yeah, they a lot of times they do well too because everybody wants to. That's kind of like, well, like you were saying, it's something that you can watch, and it's not there's not a lot of thought to it, and it's just a nice to see some of the historical stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's like there for each of the seasons. Like I said, what they feel is that they do movies that are opposing it, but you've got to be very careful also what movie in terms of your timing. And this is also a lesson in self-distribution. You will get lost in the crowd if you are trying necessarily to go against the tide of the season.
Yeah.
Unless it is absolutely something exceptional. And this is something that people have to understand. Your timing is really everything. You can have an amazing cast, amazing director. Another good one of talking in regards to that is Year by the Sea.
Yeah.
They postponed their release date of what they were supposed to do. Smartly enough, because they would have been coming out now during these summer blockbusters. And that particular movie would have been lost in the crowd. A movie like that, and it deserves a more Oscar season-y opening, as an example. So when you're looking at it, you have to look at it in terms of timing of, okay, when is it that we want to do this timings? When does that work, and when does that look good for you?
Yeah.
So it's like also when you're self-distributing, you have to think of it as, when is my audience going to actually see my film? Because a lot of those for your consideration movies, they have also juxtaposing as well. Things, for example, that come out during those times are things like the Star Wars movies, very visual effectsy movies, because people love effectsy movies. They come out during that time of season. So you got to really look at it in reality of, what is your timing? Is it right and is it wrong? Now, what do you think happens with the shows that are wrong in timing?
Well, they don't do very well. It's like they won't do very well, and they get bad reviews instead of getting, if it would have been released at the right time, it would have gotten a better response, and
Mm-hmm.
gotten better reviews possibly. And so your timing not only is going to get you, if you hit it at the wrong time, it doesn't just mess up your box office, but it can also affect the reviews.
Yes. Also, a lot of times that when people release movies theatrically, everybody would love to have their movie done theatrically, but you know what? Some movies are just meant to be secondary and tertiary markets.
Yeah. But the other thing that can really mess up a movie when it's released at the wrong time, like well, let's take Rough Night as an example.
Yes.
It's been doing horrible business.
Mm-hmm.
Domestically, it has not even made back its budget.
Yeah.
Internationally, it has barely made back its budget. What's going to happen now is when it gets released on DVD, people are going to go, "Oh yeah, that was at the show. I heard it didn't do well," and
Mm-hmm.
they're going to assume that that means it's not a good movie.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
what it was a case of bad timing.
Yes. And sometimes, you know what, it just is a bad movie. Other times, no, it is just a case of horrible timing that that movie came out.
And lack of advertising. I mean, the first time I
Yes.
even heard of Rough Night was when I saw it was playing at my local movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up on IMDb and I went, wow, how come I haven't heard of this movie?
Yep. There hasn't
It
been a lot
hasn't
of
been,
trailers.
yeah, there haven't been a lot of trailers. I'm on YouTube all the time. There's always movie trailers on YouTube.
Yeah. I don't think I heard the Rough Night, or heard anything about it, or saw anything about Rough Night. That one
Yep.
slipped past me.
Yeah. So therefore, it's like, look at that. It slipped past you. It slipped past Arpo. It also slipped past. It's like, in terms of that, the only reason I paid attention to it is because it's like it in that category of interesting things of a something different for the summer movies.
Yeah.
And I was going, well, why didn't they just wait on this for a couple of months till end of August? This would have
Yeah,
been such a happier. There would have been such a much happier result for it,
exactly.
because people, as they're going back to school, want to see movies that are, more college oriented and grad oriented, things like that. They want to see different kinds of movies. People towards the end of August get bored with blockbusters. They're like, okay, let's
Yeah.
see something different come out there. And that's,
And this would be the something different that people would have been looking for in
yes.
August. Would have gotten a lot better business.
Yep. I also feel Snatched would have also gotten that too.
Almost definitely.
But again, I'm not dissing. It's like, let me announce, we are not dissing on the distributors. We're talking about it in terms of timing.
Yeah.
There, we are not.
And
We're not.
that's not entirely the distributor's decision.
Not really, because they have to also follow an exhibitor schedule as well. And
Yeah.
what they do, the same way that they deal in terms of movies when selling to territories and to buyers, they have to deal also with exhibitors. And if the exhibitor says, I only have the spot from here to here for you for this film, because this studio also wants your space, wants that space too, I need to have the cinemas available for this blockbuster movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
I can only time it between this and this. Sometimes you have no choice but to time it, to release it at the date, the day and date.
Exactly. It's anytime a movie gets released at the wrong time, it's 50% the exhibitor. That's because a good distributor is going to know that this is not the time to release a rom-com or in the case of Rough Night, kind of screwball comedy.
Yeah. Like timing wise, this is actually late. If maybe another thing is if Rough Night would have been maybe released in June, the same time as Hangover was released, the original one.
Yeah, it would have, because it's kind of similar to that.
Yeah,
to that same kind of genre.
That and Bridesmaids.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think this was a situation where the distributor was told by the exhibitors, "Well, no, we can't have it. Then it's got to be at this time."
Yeah, because also exhibitors as well reserve certain amount of theater spaces for big blockbuster movies.
Yeah. And to be fair to the distributor, sometimes they have to take that deal because they're distributing more than one movie.
Yes.
So they're looking at, which one do I really want to see in this spot over here, and then if I had to put the other one in this spot there, that's a lousy spot. Well, I have no other choice. I can't put both movies in the same spot.
That's right. And sometimes they'll say, it's like, look, okay, this is a major blockbuster. It needs 2 theater spaces, 3 theater spaces.
Yeah.
Other ones, it's like they're sitting there going, I can give you 1 theater. Do you want it on the state? Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Because don't forget that every studio is vying for a space in the theater with these exhibitors. Yeah. This is also something that makes exhibitors king. And you know what they say, it's good to be the king of, you can choose your timings. It's like, if, for example, you want to have a Guardians of the Galaxy in that theater, in 2 theater spots, and you want a Wonder Woman in 2 theater spots. Most theater chains have how many screens?
I think the average these days is about 10.
Okay. So those have already taken up 4 of 10.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have, for example, a children's movie that's going to take up 2 of your screens as well, because, family type movies do tend to get wide releases. So there's 6, which leaves 4.
Yeah.
A lot of times that those 4 are vied for by other movies. What were you going to say, Olaf?
No, I was going to say yes. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay, so then you got 4 screens. 4 screens are vying for that. It's like some of them, they have to have ones that are festival independents. At least 1 screen left over for indie films that are ones that they know are going to be small releases that basically are an in and outs for them. But then sometimes you have also theaters that they don't only get 2 screens for a blockbuster film. Like they have Wonder Woman on 2 screens, and then they have Wonder Woman in 3D on another screen.
Yeah.
At different timings. And you have like Guardians of the Galaxy, and then you have Guardians of the Galaxy in 3D. And so again, then you're taking up 8 out of 10 screens, leaving 2 screens left. And as I said, there has to be the in and out screen. The one that's constantly rotating, because nobody wants to come to the movie theater and go, oh God, that movie again.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You got to keep changing it up.
Yep. Which leaves the best one at that spot, which is, and sad to say it, it's 1 screen to do your opposing movie, maybe 2 left over for your opposing movie. So, and it's unfortunately the way that it goes in all theaters. It's like, and don't forget that that those 10 screens that everything is going in, it's like if you give up 3 screens for that, it's like to Warner Brothers for Wonder Woman, and you give up 3 to Marvel for Guardians of the Galaxy. All those other screens, there are other studios who want to pop something in there. And an indie film that isn't part of the big six, it's not going to play in there. And that's the reality of it. By the time that that's said and done, you're going, okay, then I have no choice but to take it at that particular date.
Right.
Yeah.
May not, and like I said, if you that's where you get into the timing thing where you have no choice. You have to take that and just hope that it does better than what you think it will.
Yes. And then there are those things, as I say, I call them the troubled productions. And they are a well-known secret. They are the most unkept secret probably in the entertainment industry. They are the productions where something has gone wrong with it. Anything, and that something can be anything from, sorry, we had a diva actor or actress, to a, I am so sorry, but you know what? It's like we just had a whole bunch of troubles altogether. It's like the product that was envisioned was not the product that came out through the editing process and everything, and there's no way to save this without a complete reshoot. So we're going to release it and hope for the best.
Right.
And those also come out during that time in terms of sometimes bad timing. It comes out as an obligation one. It's like oh God, we just spent all of this money on this movie, and the storyline really didn't come out to what it said that it was going to be on the paper. This worked out so much differently in my head than it did on this paper. What do we do? And
then you
a
have,
lot of,
I was going to say, and then you have your limited release movies. These are the
yes,
movies that have been getting accolades at film festivals all around the world, but are not necessarily going to be big box office movies.
yes,
So they go on limited release at maybe 3,000 theaters or something, just a small percentage of theaters. And they don't make a lot of money at the box office, but they're very good movies. Right now, that movie is Beatriz at Dinner,
mm-hmm.
which is the other movie I'm going to be going to see on Monday, because I've just heard incredible things about it.
Yep.
Not heard of that one either.
Well, and then also things like The Beguiled that's coming out. It's like that played very well at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
Other movie, and then another Sofia Coppola movie. It's like movies that play at the Cannes Film Festival. They also come out now late summer because they're looking at the Oscar contending edges as well. And it's like, well, and also a lot of foreign films tend to also come out during this time of year as well. What I'm noticing also with a lot of theaters is they're having revivals of classic movies that come into their theater productions as well that they have to slate, and that's their in and out theater. One night only that you get to see Logan's Run, the original movie, the Michael Anderson version, or one night only you have like a classic movie that you haven't seen in forever that gets into that theater.
Right.
And it seems to be a very huge trend with a lot of theaters because they realize that a lot of people want the nostalgic things of there because they're not going to see the new movies. They're not interested in those subjects.
Yeah. I know Turner Classic Movies has a very popular film program they do through Fathom.
Yep.
My local theater has a classic movie program where they do a classic movie every week.
Yep.
Which is like really cool.
Yes. And I mean, it's not like I said, dissing on the movies of today. What it's doing is it's saying that, hey, you know what? We have some interesting things coming up. for example, the Alamo Victory. Not only do they have The Big Sick, they have Despicable Me, and The Big Sick is also a movie that will be juxtaposing. But again, look at where its timing is going. It's coming out on the same week as Spider-Man: Homecoming, and Jaws. But yet we have Jaws on the Water, the life in Summer on the Lake. It's like we're getting a we're getting a redo of Jaws that's also coming out at that exact same time. You know,
Spider-Man will bury them all.
Yes. But what's kind of interesting is that one of the things that they're trying to do to boost the Big Sick on there is they're having a Big Sick menu on the Alamo. Explore Kumail Nanjiani's favorite recipes. So they're trying to give it a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep. They're having Labyrinth that's coming out there. Full Metal Jacket. On the same day as War of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, my local theater has been doing once a month the spaghetti westerns.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And for each one, you pay. I'm trying to. I think it's $24. It was either 24 or 29. I think maybe $29. That was your movie ticket, a large popcorn, and a complete Italian dinner: salad, spaghetti and meatballs, tiramisu, wine. So it was like very cool.
Now,
One in a few weeks.
now you're making me
Duck
hungry.
You Sucker,
Yeah.
which is also known as A Fistful of Dynamite,
Yeah.
to remind people that it's Sergio Leone.
Mm-hmm. And so basically what it's looking at is they're looking at it from the point of view of, again, juxtaposing films that haven't had a huge theatrical release in a while and bringing them back. So this is also then, it's like if you're competing with classic movies, and we're not talking about remakes, we're talking classic movies, there as well as these big blockbuster movies that are coming out. What's the chances that a movie that doesn't fall in the proper timings is going to make it?
More likely.
Somewhere between none and nil.
Yeah, zip and none.
Yep. And it's purely about the issue of release. When do you release it? How do you release it? And where do you release it? Another problem for the bad timing and the wrong place, wrong time is some things that just need to have a foreign release first instead of a domestic, because it plays better in a foreign market.
Yeah, I believe that's what they did with The Great Wall. Was they actually
Yeah.
released it in China before it was released in America?
Yes. Another one that's also a really great one to, in terms of that, wrong platform. It should have been it's like it should have been a TV series. Have you ever seen one of those movies that you go, damn, that would make an amazing TV series, but God, it sucked as a movie?
Yeah, one or two of those over the years.
Not so much. Usually, I see a TV series that I'm like, this would have been better as a movie.
And that's also another thing.
TV series is too drawn out.
Yeah. Another reason why certain movies don't make the box office as well and are bad in terms of timing is because if there's something that is competing with it on a different medium, like a television series, right, who also vies for your attention at the same time. And we don't know any TV series that ever do that, right?
Oh God, no.
No, they never do anything like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Nope. It's like we've never ever had that sort of thing ever happen.
No. Well, hell, if I wanted to, I'd go. I could go to the movies tomorrow night. Oh, wait, that's Doctor Who night. Never mind.
Exactly. So in terms of that, it's like, yeah, there's Doctor Who. There is also other movies that goes to. It's like, so when you're looking at it, you're thinking, okay, where does my time get spent? It's like, where does my actual attention span go? For example, it's like right now, Orphan Black is getting all of my attention.
Yes.
It's like, yes, I've seen Wonder Woman twice because I enjoyed it. And the second time it was because it was a new experience. Those wonderful new interactive theaters, which, by the way, I cannot highly recommend enough, of things like the Alamo and stuff like that. Yeah, a wee bit on the expensive side, but absolutely worth it.
Well, when you consider how much you would spend for dinner and a movie, it's not that expensive.
No, it really isn't.
Unless your idea of dinner is McDonald's.
Yeah. And really,
You
it's
mean
good
that's not a
food.
good dinner? That's not a good dinner, McDonald's? Come
Not on date
on.
night. Not on date night.
It is if you're a cheap date.
Yeah. Well, it's like it depends on whether you enjoy your date or don't enjoy your date, or you want that date to end early.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, Olaf. For men like you and me, hookers are not going to go to McDonald's. We got to take them someplace nice.
Yeah, it's like, unfortunately, it's like, and you know what? It's like couples with nice out. It's like they want to do something special and different. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is something a little bit special, a little bit different. So yeah, it's like it was very enjoyable because also it was a different kind of experience to sit in the theater where you can actually have a reclining chair, be able to eat supper right then and there. It's like almost order at any point in time. It was like, wow, okay, I'm being treated like a VIP. I turn around and my glass is full again. And I mean, I had this lovely bottle of water that I had never had that kind of water. And I was like, wow, this is great. Where do I get some? So they merchandise accordingly. And they really had me hooked on it. So, and they got 2 bottles of water out of me for it.
Yeah. 2 overpriced bottles of water, but
Yes.
I'm sure it was good.
It was great water. It was like that
I know.
sparkling fizzy water.
The movie theater by me has this water called Voss. It's
Uh
very
huh.
good, but a large bottle of it is $7.95.
Yeah.
The pure, clean water. It's really good.
Yeah. You just have to mortgage your house to get it.
Hmm. What you have to do is you have to smuggle the empty bottle out of the theater and then fill up with your bottled water at home. And then when you go into the theater and you've got your bottle of water, they look at, oh, okay, yeah, you bought that here.
Yeah.
And you go,
And
that's right.
yeah. Yeah. It was great. Yeah, and I mean, they really, really have a lovely setup with the tables and everything. But the point is that it's also another way that people are getting back into going into the theater, because a lot of people have lost faith of going to the theater for exactly that reason.
With ticket prices going up, and you're never really sure if you're going to like the movie, and You can't change the channel.
Yep.
Maybe that'll be the next big innovation.
Well, it's like
Enough
interactive
people in the
theater.
audience say change the channel, you can get a different movie.
Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps.
Yeah. Get to where you can rewind and like on, yep, nope. It's like fast forward. I'm done. Next.
Or if somebody gets up, has to leave to go to the bathroom, the audience can vote to hold the movie till they get back.
Yeah. Well, it's like we'll have to think of that after holographic film.
Yeah. Yeah. Virtual, everything I'm reading online now, everything is in Hollywood is gearing towards virtual reality next.
Yep. Because it is the next big wave.
Yeah.
In Hollywood.
Yeah.
So the understanding with that, it's like it also means that we have to also understand in terms of theatrical release, in terms of any release with any film, it's all about the timing. We have good timings, we have bad timings, and let's face it, it's like when it's the right timing, the box office dollars reflect it. Now, yes, I will answer the question: does reviews influence it? Only to a certain degree. Certain audiences will listen to reviews, but that doesn't necessarily mean one way or the other. What it means is that it's timing. It's also the subject matter. It's does the audience enjoy the subject matter? That is what generates it. Is it the season that they would enjoy that or enjoy its opposing refreshing point of view? Because like I said, come August, I'm going to be desperately looking for anything that isn't yet another action family, like a cartoon or hero or comic or family movie. I'm going to be looking for something with a little bit more deeper subject that isn't quite so superficial.
Yeah, like the Black Panther movie.
Yes.
That actually, I think, is going to be very interesting in terms of being a superhero movie. Because one thing, it's a black superhero. How many of those do you see?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's not coming out during the big blockbuster season.
Yes.
It's coming out during the slower season because I think they're going to build up a much bigger audience that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because you put Black Panther up against Spider-Man, everybody's going to want to go see Spider-Man, not the Black Panther necessarily.
Yeah.
That movie, just a bad contrast to this time of the year.
Yeah.
So, and what Olaf was saying about sometimes these movies that have bad timing on the releases get bad reviews. That's only because the reviewers have just seen, this incredible, they've just seen Wonder Woman.
Right.
And now they're going to go see Rough Night.
Yeah.
Well, there's really no comparison. Of course, they're going to give Rough Night not as good of a review as they're going to give Wonder Woman.
Yes. Because it does, it's like in terms of that, it's like they see in terms of, and again, it's like where things like those movies, they also get a lot of hype, they get a lot of promotion. Another thing that can also tank a movie is the amount of promotion that's given to the actual movie. As you mentioned earlier, it's like, for example, how much did you see trailers and commercials for Rough Night?
None. I looked last week to see what was playing at my movie theater, and there was Rough Night. And I'm like, what's this? I never heard of this.
Exactly.
I mean, I've seen trailers and seen reviews for Beatrice's Dinner, and that's a limited release.
Yeah. So then it makes you wonder. It's like, okay, why aren't they supporting it?
Yeah. That's where your marketing comes in. If you're going to have to release it at what's a bad time of year for that particular genre of movie, then by God, you got to market the hell out of it.
Yeah. You got to market the. Yeah.
And that was not done. That was not done with Rough Night.
Yeah. No, there wasn't at all. And I mean, it's very sad.
Uh-oh. Grayson's on auto tune.
Yep. No, I'm not on auto tune.
There. Now you sound normal again.
Yes. Yeah, that was your unfortunately your internet. But yes, it's like it. Also, another thing that has to be done as well is if you're going to put opposing movies. I understand that a lot of them take up space in terms of advertising. Well, then you got to advertise that much more cleverly to be able to get people to notice your non-blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that you can't just do it, just bring it out and hope that the movie is going to find an audience. You have to find the audience that wants that kind of movie to be released during this timing, or because you were forced to do so, that it's like to be able to have that audience captured there so that you get your share of the box office.
Yeah. And like I said, I compare Rough Night, which is a big, broad comedy, to this intimate, socially conscious movie, Beatrice at Dinner.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've seen previews for it all over the place. I've seen releases of it. I've seen media on it. I saw none of that for Rough Night.
Nope. Olaf.
Beatrice at Dinner is not going to do well at the box office.
Maybe it may, maybe and maybe not.
Well, but like I said, I didn't until you mentioned Rough Night, I hadn't heard or seen anything of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things, it's like, yes, we can also talk about movies that, again, their concepts, their things that are going on with them, their troubles in their productions. There's a huge combination of that. What else, Olaf, do you think is a huge troubling of a production? Makes a production troubled. I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
That was your clue.
You give me
visual. It's a visual clue.
Yes.
Oh, money. Yeah. It's like I'm trying to think all these different things. I was like, oh yeah, money. If you don't have the money, you can't. If you don't have the money, you can't make it happen.
Yes, and we've gone over the intended budget.
Yeah.
Therefore, we can't have the P&A budget that we would have wanted, or we underspent where in places we should have overspent.
Yep.
So,
and another thing that can really trouble a movie is if one of the stars decides they didn't have a good experience and talks out against it. And I have seen that rail some otherwise very good movies.
Yes. Or talk about their co-star.
That's what I was trying to think of, rather than the simple thing of not having enough money. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's not having enough money. It's not using your money wisely on production, and it's also like you said, a star who decides that they hated the role enough that they're going to diss the film.
Yeah.
They can kill your film faster than
than the
And it's,
critics can.
mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they didn't get enough lattes, or you didn't give them only green M&Ms or something like that in their things, if they didn't have a pleasant experience on the film, like I said, they do more damage because, yeah, I was in it, but it sucked.
Exactly. And no matter what you can do, you can't save that sort of thing. And there really isn't a way. It's like your PR person can try and spin it as much as they can, but in the same way that there's no, if they felt that there was not enough creative freedom in there. Just saw an article recently on Yahoo just now that talked about with Will Ferrell that he wasn't exactly happy working with Mariah Carey. I don't want to, and it says I don't want to do it. Scene Ferrell on Carrie's antics. So in other words, there's one that's going to have an interesting troubled release.
Yeah.
And it's not being gossip. It's a matter of the stars had a problem with the director. The director had a problem with the stars. The stars didn't enjoy the experience. They didn't feel that they were being heard. The director thought that the movie was going to go one way and it went a different way. Budgetary wise, they ran out of money before that they could do the artistic vision that was put forward necessarily.
Yeah.
They were put up against a deadline for a window that this movie had to be released. There are a million reasons why a production is in trouble. And when it is troubled, it, at that point in time, is so hard to get out of. It becomes insanely ridiculous. So, if that helps you to understand a little bit more about timings and about the kinds of things, it's like I hope that we were helpful in that of understanding with good and bad timings. With self-releasing of films, let's talk a little bit about that in terms of timing. Understand you are going to be competing upstream with a lot of people who are theatrically in there, or have come to DVD, or have come to your marketplace in terms of streaming. You will be competing with those people who are streaming. The way to stay competitive is by having a clever marketing campaign that sets you aside. It's how movies like, and I hate to say it, clever marketing campaign, Blair Witch came to be so popular. The first one.
Yeah, because they basically ran a campaign that lied to us.
Yes. But it was an effective campaign.
It was an effective campaign, and we all let them get away with it at that time.
Yes. There's been other movies, though, that have done that exact same thing effectively.
Yeah.
Even since then. So, thinking about it, run a clever marketing campaign. Think of all of the places that you can advertise your movie that will be in places that are along the same size of that. But understand you're going to have this, you're going to have a huge budget to get yourself noticed above the crowd. Make sure that your website stands out, that people see it. People know about it. People have actually visited the site. Give them updates on a constant basis of what's going on with production.
Yeah.
When you're looking at timing wise and movie wise, maybe set up some special screenings so that you can get people superly excited and interested.
Yes, and for God's sakes, Facebook, tweet, anything you got to do to get the word out there.
Yep. Be just as clever as them on the same kind of budget that they have without actually having that budget.
Yeah.
Because if people do not know that you're out there, they will not come and watch your film, no matter what platform you are. Don't expect that trailers, things like Hulu, things like that are just going to advertise for you. They won't.
Yeah, no, you gotta. If you don't put in the time to advertise, nobody's gonna know about it, and like you say, nobody's gonna pick it up unless you happen to have a really good friend that works at Hulu and goes, "Oh, hey, I'm going to help promote this." It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. And it's never too early to start letting people know that your movie is coming. There's a movie coming out around the middle of August called The Hitman's Bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing trailers for it 3 months ago.
Yes.
It's coming out at the end of the blockbuster season. It's not going to have as much competition.
That's right.
Super business. Because they're making themselves known, and they've got me actually looking forward to seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done the same thing.
Yeah.
But no.
No, and you know what? It's like the same thing. Snatch that could have done that. I saw
Yeah.
very few trailers for that, if any. I still
I
don't know what
saw
the movie's about
I
to
saw
this
a
day.
couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a comedy version of Taken.
Okay.
But I mean, if I was pitching it, if I was doing a one sentence pitch, that would be my pitch. It's a comedy version of Taken.
Okay.
Could be.
And
Like, sounds interesting. Like I said, I haven't seen the trailer of that either. Well, no, I did see something on that. The Snatched.
mm-hmm. And what'd you think of it?
It's like what I caught on it's like the trailer that I caught. I mean, looked like it'd be interesting, and yeah, with like Arpo said, looks like it would be a comedy version of Taken.
Okay. So then again, in that sense, it probably would have done really well if they would have had a fall timing for it.
Yeah.
Or an early June.
I have no doubt of that. Yeah, early June would have been a very good time to release it.
Yep.
Instead of when they or even
Late May.
mid-May.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, it looks like it's a very funny movie.
Yeah.
I can't wait to stream it now, but it didn't come out at a time when when there's that much competition for the box office dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Your blockbusters are going to win it every time.
Yeah. It's for the same way with Sisters. See, this is where it's like I say, the Beauty and the Beast did a really wonderful thing. They were out theatrically early. They've now been on DVD early. When all of these blockbusters started coming to the theater, they said, we're bowing out and going to DVD. Yep. 6 weeks after their release. They came right to DVD, and they're going strong on DVD. And as soon as the DVD market starts getting flooded with the summer blockbusters, you're darn tootin' that Disney's going to have it on television.
Yeah.
The movie network, HBO.
On Stars. Yeah.
Right.
One of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Stars seems to have the Disney stuff pretty well wrapped up.
That's another thing in the timing too. Is like when you're like not just releasing the movie, but picking like, okay, when are you going to? It's like when are you going to like start pushing the DVD sales and pushing it towards like the TV and all that. That's another thing that can help. Will help your movie along. Is make sure you hit the timing right on those things also.
Absolutely, because that's also a crucial set of timings. It's like knowing when to take it out of the theater and bring it into the DVD. Knowing how close your windows need to be between your theatrical release to your DVD release to your television release. Yeah. And understanding what's standing in front of you and what's on your heels behind you. What's also been in the theater. Because this is something that also brought La La Land to the forefront.
Yeah, that was another incident of very good timing.
Yep. It was out before a lot of these other movies that were serious movies came out. It went straight at that point in time to DVD.
Yeah.
Along with the other Oscar-nominated films, and has been did really well in DVD release as well as in theatrical. So, bottom line is it is timing on your windows, and absolutely, Olaf, you're right about that. When do you do that? When do you capitalize on your windows? Because you don't want it also on DVD when it's still being done internationally.
Well, and then some of that would also, like I said, you have to pick whatever your whatever your genre is that you're doing is like, okay, do you go to DVD first, then go theatrical? Do you go, which direction you're going to go?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to get the best play for your movie.
Well, and what I've seen more and more movies do is they'll do theatrical release and video on demand simultaneously.
Yep. SVOD is very popular. Another thing that's extensively popular along with SVOD is very much also you do the DVD, but you also do the Netflix release at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like because a lot of things digitally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the ones that can't get to the theater, they're usually got a computer or a phone that they can pull it up and stream it and watch it. So,
yeah,
you don't lose. And I don't know. Like I said, you may, depending on what your service is, you go to the theater. It costs you $15 to see the movie, and if you stream it or you do if you stream it over your phone or computer, maybe it only costs you $5. So you're still gonna make money, but you're gonna get more people watching it.
Yeah. And it's amazing that it's like then what we're doing is we're having more of the have it your way kind of thing when you're looking at a movie that's released now.
And one of the things I've noticed that they've done on Amazon for some movies on the Amazon streaming video, you can buy the movie for like $9.99 or $12.99 or what have you. Or if you pay a certain amount more, you'll get the movie and the bonus features that were on the DVD. And I'm hoping they're going to start doing that for more movies.
They will be doing that for more movies.
I think that's an absolutely brilliant idea because you're still paying less than you would for a DVD at the store.
Right.
Yep.
And your only limitation is that you got to watch it on Amazon. But hey, most smart TVs you can watch Amazon anyway.
Yes.
Well, and it's like most of your smartphones because I have the Amazon Prime or Amazon Video on my phone. So I've watched. Yeah. I said, I watch movies on my phone.
Yeah.
Or Vudu or Hulu or there's a lot of ones that are now coming onto the phone apps.
I know my sister keeps carping at me about my huge DVD collection. She's like, you realize, of course, that in 10 years, you're going to be able to throw them all away.
No, you won't. You'll watch them again and again over and over.
Well, she's just saying, because everything will be streamed at that point and you won't need them.
And I'll tell you right.
Well, I won't need to buy more.
Yeah. And I'll probably still buy it because it's like, look at it this way. I still have a VHS. And I still have things on VHS that I watch all the time.
And it's like, when the apocalypse happens and there's no more live streaming or internet and all that, you'll be glad you'll be glad you had that huge DVD collection because you'll still be able to watch movies.
Exactly.
Yep. Suddenly, I'll be the king of entertainment.
Yep. And
Would you
you'll be
like to
able
check
to.
something out from my 500 DVD library?
Yep. And I don't think really the DVD is going to be leaving anytime soon because people still do enjoy it.
Yes. And the Blu-ray, it's so far at least, part of the problem is that a lot of the quality of your picture depends on your,
Yes.
and unless you have cable, HDMI really doesn't play through most internet modems very well.
Yes.
So my movies that I have on Blu-ray are always going to be crisp and clear and
Exactly.
much better than what I watch online.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it just goes to show you that there is a variety of choices and options that are made available to you at any given time.
I know, I'm sorry, I drove us off the subject, I'm sorry.
No, that is actually on the subject as well. It's like, and then also there is the streaming ones. It's like, it's talking about timing in terms of release.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, having a large amount of DVDs, it's like, again, these were all movies that attracted you to them for one thing or another. And also the timings when you saw them. It's like the DVD collections that we have. Again, it's like it's one of those things of people have DVDs, they have you have VHSs. Like I said, I still have a VCR that I play things on.
I still have a setup that where I can take a VHS and record it to a DVD.
Yeah.
Or take a DVD and record it to it's like a VHS. I have a VCR DVD combo, and that's what it's there for, to record back and forth between the two.
Yep.
I know people who still have their laser discs.
Yep.
Setups and swear by them, saying it's a much better picture than you get with any DVD.
Mm-hmm. And so again, it's preference also of that, which also is another influencer of timings for box office. So I hope that our little discussion here has helped you, the audience, understand a little bit more about timings, release, and things like that, and why it is important that we have the times that we do. And what can make a right timing, what can make a wrong timing, what is good timing, what is not good timing, and why it is done the way that it's done.
And remember, a movie failing at the box office does not make it a bad movie. It just makes it bad timing.
Right.
And with that being said, Arpo, how do they get you in social media?
Why? They really want to be social? There's always Facebook. Yippee. And if you're a little bit more interested in the business side of things, I am on LinkedIn. And if you're just the type of person who likes to chat with somebody that knows all this disgusting trivia about movies, well, that's what I like to do when I'm on the Movies Underground Skype. Go ahead, be my Skype buddy. You're welcome. But make sure, as I always warn people, that you let me know that you're a fan of Movietime, because I get way too many invitations to marriage from Armenian women.
Yeah, it's like, and we're gonna have to start sending some of them that peanut butter, just to tempt them. We're just gonna send them more peanut butter. Olaf, put that on our list.
It's like, it's like you rendered him speechless with that.
Oh
no!
No, not my precious peanut butter! No!
You just knocked him off. It's like knocked him off the mic. He was like, nothing. You're gonna send him my peanut butter? No, Armenian women with my peanut butter? No.
And that's what they're gonna use to tempt him for those marriage proposals.
There you go.
So ladies, you want to know how to get Arpo? Send him some peanut butter.
That's right, because I I jealously guard my peanut butter.
Yep.
Nobody gets into my peanut butter ever. WC.
Yep. And Olaf, how do they get you in social media?
Well, you can stalk me on both Facebook and Twitter at Olaf Barbosa, but as I say, just don't stalk too close because I do get nervous and I do have an itchy trigger finger.
Excellent. And for me, you can get me on LinkedIn, Wikipedia, on Facebook, on Twitter, at Sonata Grayson, at Movietime Indie, as well as you can also reach me on www.pastlivesproductionsinc.net, which I encourage everybody to please come and see the brand new look of the website because it is absolutely awesome, the new changes that have happened to the website since last time in regards to it, and you'll get to hear all about the upcoming projects that are on the website, as well as also there's a little donate button now, as well as also we have on the there as well. You can also reach me on Bizipedia. Gosh, it's like, and if you can't find me, you're really not stalking me hard enough. After 4 pages of that, and don't forget, it's like all of our 14 podcasting people. And with that being said, we will see you all on Wednesday. And we will have another fantastic guest or subject for you. And until then, take care.
Thanks
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening.